So, about time, right? Non-top 10 lit video, but I meant to review this a while ago, and I needed a reason why I didn't make this video so soon. And the actual real reason why I didn't make the video this soon, cause I forgot where I put this. What's up, guys? It's me, the ALE Double X Prince, and I'm here with my review for Captain Marvel, the latest Marvel Cinematic Universe movie, the 21st movie in this franchise. Wow, can you believe it? It's been 11 years and this is going to be the 21st movie. That is freaking insane. And then this year we get Endgame and then the beginning of Phase 4, Spider-Man Far From Home. But before we get to all that fun stuff, which, hasn't even come out as of right now, it is March 19, 2019 right now. It'll probably be March 20th by the time this video is up and going. But let's just talk about Captain Marvel. Spoilers ahead. If you guys watch my reviews, you know that I spoil a hell lot of stuff. Yeah. This movie overall is a pretty fun experience. I've had a worse times. But it's by far like I've only seen 4 movies this year. That would be How to Train Your Dragon 3, the Lego movie, the second part, Glass, and of course Captain Marvel. Glass is by far the weakest one out of that bunch. But Captain Marvel comes. Yeah, animated movies are kicking ass right now. Lego Movie Part 2 was phenomenal. I had a great time. And How to Train Your Dragon 3 was a great conclusion to that franchise. Finally, we got the conclusion to that franchise. But anyways, Captain Marvel, what is this movie about? Well, it takes place in the 90s. It's kind of hard to explain because, if you have to be a super nerd, you have to, remember all these names and all these stuff. It took me a while to get to the Guardians of the Galaxy and kind of remember everybody's name, everything involved. But for the most part, it's pretty much simple. Captain Marvel, Carol Danvers, loses her memories. She joins Star Force, or, she gets rescued by Star Force. And then they do a mission where there's a Skrull invasion, and then she ends up on Earth with a bunch of Skrulls in there on attack. And pretty much this is a story of how Captain Marvel, or Carol Danvers in this case, starting to figure out who the hell she is and how she came to Earth. For the most part, it's a buddy cop comedy. It's pretty much her. What's his face? Samuel L. Jackson. How did I forget that name? AKA Nick Fury. And Goose the cat. I got a lot of stuff to say about that fucking cat. If you guys know what I'm saying. Rah! But anyways, this movie, for the most part, is just following those two. And for the most part, a lot of people are getting so divided on this movie. People are saying it's horrible. Some people actually enjoy it. Some people just wish it would stop. Some people wished, they just had a Captain Marvel be introduced in Phase 4. There's a lot of situations. For the most part, the fact that people wanted to do this, agenda, and Disney is popular for doing this. They did us wrong in Star Wars of having this big agenda of with female power and this and that and shit. And I get it. I have nothing against these kind of people. I understand. And they do sometimes they don't really piss me off. They just annoy me. You know what I'm saying? It kind of is hard to review this without saying that. So, let's just pretend for a while that doesn't happen. But, for the most part, a lot of people are comparing this to Wonder Woman. And, no, Wonder Woman was a lot better. Maybe the climax for Wonder Woman wasn't as good, but this one was probably mediocre as hell, too. Anyways, this movie, it's pretty much Carol Danvers starting to remember herself. Turns out that the Skrulls are actually the good guys, and the Star Force are actually the bad guys. And for the most part, people are probably wondering, for the most part, if people like that twist, then this movie's going to work for you. If people don't like this twist, this movie sucks. For me, personally, it only kind of works. What they should have done my personal opinion is that what they should have done Jude Law be a villain from the beginning. Well, not from the beginning, but pretty much be that secret guy that we have was it Jan Rog, Jude Law, that's his character's name. Pretty much him waiting all these years to try to get the powers from Carol Danvers that he wished he had but never got to. And then Gemma Chan should have been his girlfriend, and then I would have Jude Law die in this movie and then save Gemma Chan, that whatever character she has, save for the sequel. Because my prediction is that they're gonna do this thing where the Captain Marvel trilogy is only gonna take place in the 90s, and then she's gonna take over the Avengers Initiative from there on. That's my guess of what the hell's gonna happen. But yeah, that's probably what they should have done. I didn't like that they made every Star Force member a villain. If they made a Korath, who was in Guardians of the Galaxy, the black dude that calls Peter Quill Star-Lord for the first time, the first person to actually call him that, they should have just made him a squirrel from the beginning, or you know, they should have made him a good guy turned squirrel. And yeah, now as speaking of squirrels, it kind of didn't make sense how they just turned good guys. I think it was a good thing that they made them good guys, but I just didn't like how it was put together. I didn't like that they made all the squirrels like kill all these people, or you know, pretend to be all these other people. I mean, technically they said that they actually just tied up these the people they were taking. Like example, Talos said that he took the guys that was supposed to be Ben Mendelsohn. They just said they just tied him up somewhere and didn't actually kill him. I wouldn't have done that. I personally would have had not Talos, but the guy like one just a random squirrel. I would have just made a random squirrel, the guy that just hates that the squirrels are these kind of people, and he just wants to go away and run away with his family. That's the kind of story I would have had. And then I would have Jude Law and Ben Mendelsohn team up against Captain Marvel and, you know, stop destroying the world. And then it would end with Captain Marvel trying to find a place for this side scroll family to do stuff elsewhere. That would have been a much better story, and it probably would have helped that Carol Danvers got her memories by the end, because it just kind of made no sense. Everything was just sloppy and all over the place, and it kind of hurt the movie for the most part. That was probably my biggest takeaway from the whole movie. But overall, I thought it was just a very enjoyable movie as far as like entertainment wise. You know, the stuff that did work really worked. Like, I love the chemistry with Sam Jackson and Brie Larson. They clearly hang out a lot. Goose the Cat is actually a character I'm not the big fan of. I know he's a flirkin, but he was kind of like mediocre. Also, back to the bad. Maria Ram, the girl who plays Carol Danvers' best friend back in the day. Shit. Sorry. Fucking phone fell. But anyways, the girl who plays Carol Danvers' old best friend, the pilot, she was okay. She didn't really add much to the story, and I kind of didn't like that she went to space. Because in my mind I was like, oh, she's gonna die, but then the twist kind of didn't work. And I don't know, they just kind of went all over the place with her. There's like a lot of missed opportunities for her. She was a cool character. I really liked her. She was like her individual, but you could tell that was part of like the social justice warrior agenda, just add women who know how to do shit. And she only kind of works. Ronan makes no sense. I'll just pass him over, because if you could take off Ronan from this entire movie, you're good. You have no reason to talk about Ronan. Anyways, back to the story. For the most part, Brie Larson and Sam Jackson again have great chemistry. They have good enjoyment. A lot of people say that Brie Larson is a horrible Captain Marvel. I thought she did a great job. I thought she was entertaining. I thought she was good, and she felt like a hero for the people, or what could have been a hero for the people. It's just that there's so much stuff that they missed the opportunity. Like another thing that they could have done, um, they could have had Carol Danvers save the world, but still look like the bad guy because of all the destruction, which would explain why eventually, when the Avengers did take over, it explains how they got Civil War and all this stuff. They just dropped so many opportunities, and fuck, the more and more I think about it, the more I think this movie was not that good. It really fucking wasn't. Um, but for the most part, I just had a good time. Like, even Ben Mendelsohn as a good guy, I enjoyed. I just personally wish they'd done something else, but I was still a big fan of Ben Mendelsohn. He was probably my favorite part of the entire movie, from being the villain to the good guy. He just does a phenomenal performance. Probably the best part of that entire movie. A lot of people like to say Goose the Cat was the best part of the movie. Um, no, I don't like that fucking cat that's flirting, whatever the fuck he's called. I mean, he's more of a Guardians of the Galaxy type of character. I would have had him on Guardians 2 or Guardians 3, which thank God James Gunn came back. But yeah, they just kind of dropped the ball with. I mean, they didn't drop the ball with that guy. I just didn't like pretty much what everybody hated. The fucking cat eye. Pretty much the reason why Samuel L. Jackson lost his eye was a fucking scratch. Yeah. I personally would have had him lose his eye the same way in the beginning when he fights the squirrel, who plays Phil Coulson. So that would have worked. Some stuff that I really liked. I really liked the battle with the squirrels. I really liked the action is pretty good. That Stan Lee cameo and that opening to Stan Lee is pretty great. Yeah, the Mallrats cameo, I loved it a lot just because I'm a big fan of Mallrats. I don't care what anybody says, that movie is entertaining. And I love the opening thank you to Stan Lee. That was probably really smart. I mean, they just had so many like missed opportunities. It was just like little nitpicky stuff that really hurt the movie that could have saved it from being a masterpiece. And they just dropped the ball. And they kind of, I mean, it made sense why Captain Marvel left, but it kind of doesn't really make sense why she was gone this whole time. She could have come back anyways, whenever. Visit the friends a couple of times. That would have been helpful, but no, it really didn't make sense why she was gone. If the entire world saw her as a villain, well, not a villain, but like not a good sign, and that's why she left, it would have made much more sense. That way, when she does come back at Endgame, then maybe she realizes that, okay, this is for real. That's Nick Fury called me for a really good reason, so it's got to be a real good reason why I'm called up. I won't be happy of how the world sees me, but hopefully they'll do. And then we could continue phase 4 of her still trusting people. That could have been a perfect way to write out Captain Marvel, but they just kind of like slop. I don't know. They just put so much stuff that was unnecessary. Again, the Ronin thing was pointless. The cat. I mean, I actually liked the cat. Some scenes with him. Some stuff just kind of annoyed me. Again, just the eye thing and the end credit scene of him spitting out the cube was horrible. I don't know. It was just really fucking stupid. The stuff that they got wrong. But the stuff that they got right was actually really, really good. Hell, honestly, out of all the Marvel Cinematic Universe movies, this one has my favorite soundtrack out of all of them, honestly. Maybe Guardians of the Galaxy is pushing it, but as far as songs that I grew up listening to in the past, like they had You Gotta Be, they had What a Man, they had Come As You Are, even the Defenders had that theme song. They just had, it was 90s, so it was kind of like that stuff that I really liked growing up back in the day. I don't know. That's just personally how I would have written. I would have, if you guys want me to make a video where I write how I would have made Captain Marvel a successful movie or a better movie, I would. I don't hate it. It's just, what the fuck are they thinking with half of this stuff? Um, Overall, I really think this is a worse scene. I'll talk about the end credit, the mid credit scene at the very end. I'm just trying to think of other stuff I could bring up. Um, Again, I really didn't hate anybody in this movie. I just didn't like how they presented some of them. Like, the only real character I didn't like in this movie was that Ronan was there. There was no point. The only way I would have accepted Ronan in this movie is if they explain the Thanos thing. Like, how does Brie Larson know Thanos? And maybe it would have it could have explained how she ended up back there. Like, just the way some stuff was just put together was stupid. Like, what I really liked, the one thing they got correctly is why they called the Avengers Initiative, you know? Why they call them the Avengers. That actually made sense because, you know, in Carol Danvers' tag it said Avengers. So it made sense for that. And it could have helped out the Avengers, and it could have helped Captain Marvel be a bigger character. Like, wow, she's the reason why we have the Avengers. Without her, there wouldn't be the Avengers. And even though Captain America and technically Hank Pym as Ant-Man, those were the first real heroes, but it could have been like, we wouldn't have the big team that we had without Captain Marvel's knowledge. And I don't know. I feel like I'm talking more about what I wanted to see over the actual movie itself, and that's what's really hurting me with this review. What other stuff was there? Let's see. What else can I talk about that's not the end credit scene? Yeah, so what they got right with the Avengers and stuff, that was pretty cool. I kind of wish they made Nick Fury a little bit more badass, stopped the quipping and the laughs and all that stuff. I felt like they should have made him a badass from the start. And another thing that I was personally disappointed was the directors themselves. So every director recently has had their way of making the movie stand out on their own. Like Taika Waititi made Thor Ragnarok feel different. Black Panther, you know, Ryan Coogler had his way of seeing the movie, but Anna Boden and Ryan Fleck, who done I forgot what kind of movies that they've done. I actually don't know really like what kind of movies they do. That's my personal that's like the truth of me. And I kind of wish they showed more of what they could do with a franchise like this, instead of just following the same step. Even Scott Derrickson, to an extent, when he did Doctor Strange, even though he had, you know, his vision of the movie, you know, he still had to follow a couple of steps. So every director doesn't have like a full grab onto the franchise, but I wish they kind of had more freedom and more control. Obviously, Ant-Man or Edgar Wright, that didn't work out. But eventually we did get some solid Ant-Man movies. So anyways, I think Captain Marvel, I think it's a worth seeing at least once or twice. Even when I collect it, I will watch it every once in a while, but I won't be watching it over and over. I just feel like they kind of dropped the ball with these characters, with the movie. It's just, some of the writing was so fucking bad. And I wish they just tweak a little bit of stuff just to make the movie just memorable and got more people talking about it. I don't know, but I think that I'll just leave it at there. The credits. Let's just talk about the credits and just call it a day with this movie. The end credits. So if you guys remember Infinity War, it ends with a Captain Marvel calling calling Code Red, or Nick Fury calling Code Red, aka Captain Marvel, who edited the thing. I forgot what they're called. I'm not fucking old. I don't know what that thing is called, but pretty much that symbol to call Captain Marvel. I really like that. I personally think that the Code Red, that should have been the end credit scene to this movie, instead of, and then have Infinity War with no end credits whatsoever. That would have been a much cooler thing to do. Something different from the Marvel Cinematic Universe. But I was cool with the credits that we got. Pretty much they show the thingamajiggy, and then it turns off, and then War Machine comes to Captain America with a beard, and Black Widow. You know, it's them three and the Hulk, Bruce Banner. Fuck, I haven't seen those characters in a while on the big screen, so it feels good to see them once again. They're pretty much asking, like, should I turn it back on? Yes, you should turn it back on. Nick Fury knew what this meant, so we should totally turn it back on. We want to know who's next to it, and then we see Carol Danvers saying, "Where's Fury?" And that's the end credits. That was a solid way to kick it up. Why the hell does the second end credit scene? Why is the second end credit scene always shitty? Guardians 1, Ant-Man and the Wasp, Thor Ragnarok. Like, why can't we have two good end credit scenes for once? Like, why the hell do they all have to be shitty? Like, one really good one and then one shitty. Why the fuck does that always happen? And I'm not blaming this movie. I'm blaming fucking Marvel. Why the hell do they keep doing that shit? But anyways, I think that's it for this review. Captain Marvel, I think it had its moments, but I just thought that they dropped the ball with it. It's disappointing, but it's not bad. I'll leave it at that. If I were you guys, I would just wait till it comes out on DVD just to collect it, or Blu-ray, whatever the hell you guys still use. Anyways, that'll be it. It's Mimi, the ALE XX Prince. Next time I'm wearing this hat, it will be Avengers Endgame, so I can't wait. So anyways, yeah, again, Mimi, the ALE XX Prince. And until then, I'm out.